Good day buddies. Hope you're all doing great out there. For today's video we will be preparing a large enough ant farm for a maturing colony. As one of our pet ants, we'll need it anytime soon. For them we will make a nest that is capable of housing thousands of ants. Before we start, please allow me to appreciate the most awesome guys on our channel. Jeffrey Miles, Sean, The Hunter Chick, Stefan, Thomas, Sumi Riao, and Nation. Future Bird, West Virginia Ant Keeper, and the latest addition, Kazan Jenkins. Thank you so much for supporting our future project, which is the Members Terrarium, and for making every episodes possible. Let me also say welcome back buddies. And for those new to the channel, you're also welcome to D-Colony. Using this container, we're going to build a large space flat nest. I'll put the link of the container on the description. Anyway, we're gonna install a water tower to provide humidity to the nest. We have a bunch of them here. You may notice this shallow one. We grind and sanded it to reduce the height, so there will be enough space on top of it for the ants. On one side of the tower, we attached a piece of acrylic glass using acrylic cement to make an ear to the container like this. This ear-like will be fixed on the side, and will allow us to check the water level easier on the nest. Anyway, I made a draft here for the nest chambers. We have the entrance here, and couple of ventilation or expansion ports. The position of the water tower will be here on the innermost chamber. Before we fixed it on place, let's drill the needed holes first. We added 3 holes for expansion or ventilations, as it's safer to add more than less. Cause we can't drill additionals in case we need more ventilation later, and if you drill too much no worries as there's no such thing, as we can just plug them if they're not needed. We can fix the water tower now, and anyway, we also drill a hole here for the refilling straw. We'll just permanently fix it here using acrylic cement. And it went unclear buddies. I have moved it while the acrylic cement is drying, as I needed to catch something falling on the table and forgot that I'm holding something. That's fine I guess, as I believe we can still see the water level on this condition. Anyway, we'll cut the excess straw. Then proceed on chamber building, using moist sand as always. On this one, we'll start on the middle chamber or this long hallway here that has access to every chambers. We can't make it last, as it will be too hard if they're covered by the outer chambers. This is like molding, playing with clay and shaping the chambers. We'll be just pack and stack them slowly to increase the height until it reaches and kiss the lid. We'll make it over that level, then just put the lid to level everything up. This will not be the final depth of the chambers buddies, as most of it will be covered by the flooring later. Then we proceed making the rest of the chambers. We didn't follow every curves on the guide that we've drawn, as most of them will be deformed in the later process. We'll fill the free space next using sanded grout. It will be easier to fill the gaps with a more watery grout mixture. If it's your first time doing it, you can go that way as they'll flow smoother, making the work easier, and lessen deforming chances for the chambers as well. What I did here is I'm using an extra thick mixture of sanded grout, which we need to use stick to spread and fill the lower levels, which we need to be extra careful as it might destroy the chambers in the process. We'll put the tubings once the grout layer reached their spot. The pros on using thick mixture, or good thing about it, is it won't flow easily, especially on the outer parts or edges like here. If you want, you can also use two different mixture consistency for lower and outer applications. Anyway, let's just put the cover, and flip it over. I'm covering it with plastic bags so we reduce the chance of scratches from our next step, which is vibrating the container, to make sure that the mixture fill every gaps to the lid which is below now as we flipped it. This part is where the sand chambers get deformed, as some of them might collapse, so we don't specifically follow every curves on making them earlier. It adds a surprise to it though, as we could end up having a random chamber, far from what we've molded. The process we did here is similar to this recent build, just this guys don't have water tower, and uses sponge, as they're too thin of a nest setup. It's more similar to this build, as this one has water tower. I can say that this ant farm is the easier version, as molding the chambers uses cups. Our new build is more secured though, as it's surrounded by glass instead of just having it on top. It's also easy to check water level, as we have it on the side, compared to the easy version, which have the window inside the nest. Anyway, let's open it, to clear the sand out and reveal the nest chambers. But before the sand, I'll clear this grout spreads on the edges separately first by just cracking them, so I could collect the sand pure without grout debris later, and could reuse them on other projects. Here's how it looks after rinsing it with water. We can now work straight on the flooring. As you can see, it's really deep, so we'll be having a thick flooring here. Before we forgot, I'll cover most of the water tower's surface with moist sand. We just left this edge to get covered with grout, along the flooring. We'll slowly fill it with sanded grout, until we reach the level of the water tower's surface. We'll make sure every edge got applied nicely using a stick. Before we forgot, let's install the tubings filled with moist sand. Push the sand out of the tube a bit, to secure an opening. Then we'll top it with this tiny gravels. They're floating, so we'll dip them a bit, to make sure they'll stick to it. Then we top everything with sand to make the floor surface with a rougher texture. We'll put the cover but not so tight, just enough to retain moisture so the floor would set nicely for another 24 hours. As expected, some of the gravel didn't attach to even we dipped them a little, but that's to be expected if we use a thick grout for the flooring. Surface tension is really on the way of the toppings. The nest looks great nonetheless. And this made me really excited to see this nest on duty, for the ant colony that we're moving here soon. Before we end the video, look at the gem I found online, buddies. A container which is perfect for outworld, or ants foraging area. It's almost made for ants, as it has similarities with my DIY outworld. More of this, as we'll test how secure it is for housing ants. And of course our build using it in the next episode. I just hope you have learned something from this video, guys. Be a genie for the first time, by granting my wish and tapping the like and share button. That would help a lot. This is D Colony, saying goodbye for now, but hoping to see you on my next videos.